Throughout human history, in every corner of the world, there are whispered stories carried down through the generations, tales of heroes and gods, lessons and ancient customs, as a way to give flesh to the fears and histories of mankind. And in every mythology of every culture, there are stories about death and what comes after. These stories are always self-contained, prohibitive of any other version of the same ideas to exist in the same universe. But what if they did? Mausolea is the name given to this place, a realm comprised of all the world's afterlife myths, all the heavens, hells, and everything in between, side by side, combined into one place and twisted into a weird alien reflection of our own world. Peace and blessings, everyone. Welcome back. Queen Arsette here. Today we're going to take a look at this new oracle deck. This is called the Mausolea, Oracle of Souls. It is created by Lo Scarabeo, and it was conceptualized by a gamer who goes by the name of Jason Engle. He says here that he worked in the gaming industry for almost 20 years, and during that time he contributed to many different games, worlds, and characters for various publishers. In 2011, he reached a point where his professional work wasn't satisfying, and he was no longer enjoying his job. So he started to search for something that would be inspiring or give him inspiration. He collected many different kinds of art and books, and he realized that so many of them shared similar themes and visual ideas. And since that time, he tried to express that theme in a work that he has done for Mausolea. And he hopes that we like it as much as he enjoyed creating it. And of course, we have additional contributors who are Aaron Acevedo and Darren Pierce. Okay. You can find a lot of this information, a lot of information about this deck on the website, mausolea.com. I wish the stuff that was on the website was in a book because, you know, I'm a book person with highlighters and page tabs. Anyway, Mausolea deck produced by Lo Scarabeo. So, of course, it's a typical box. You know, everyone's familiar with the hard box, etc., etc., etc. You know how I feel about containers. Really neither here nor there, of course. Then you have the guidebook, which is your typical Lo Scarabeo production. Well made. 6 or 7 languages on the inside. 1, 2, 3, 6 languages. Yes. English. We have Cyrillic or Russian, Portuguese, French, Spanish, and Italian. So all the Romance languages. And this is an oracle deck that is comprised of 36 cards. Now, put this back here. What he says here about this deck is, death comes to all mortals, and when their time is upon them, it is but a beginning, a door to another world. Mausolea is a vision of the world beyond, the place our souls may travel to after death. It is a place that is knit together from many of the stories that exist in all corners of the ancient world, full of heroes and gods of myth and legend. It is the true essence of these personalities and stories they inhabit that is intended to lend insight and reveal hidden truths of our own lives and the path we follow. The spirit world of Mausolea is comprised of countless realms, and this deck includes 6 of those great kingdoms, each a reflection of our own world. And from each of these, there has been selected 6 inhabitants who best represent certain qualities and ideals. It is the power of these personalities and traits that illuminate the path before you. So, as I said, it's a 36 card deck. My only complaint is that within the 6 realms, and you can see here, I'm not sure if you can see, I had to tab the realms here. If you can see that, I'm not really sure. And of course, each realm is broken down to the inhabitants, but there is no table of contents. So as you can see before, there are a couple of spreads. The spreads engage all the cards. So should you want to look up the meaning or more in-depth information about the cards, I would suggest that you take a marker, maybe gold, silver, copper, and write the page number on the card. But I'm thinking that many of you who get this deck will be able to comprise what you need from the guidebook. So let's begin, shall we? So the very first realm that we are going to venture into is the Republic of Pandemonium. Abraham is the Joseph of Pandemonium. I guess you could say the ruler. And we have the Traveler. The Traveler, let's see if I remember, is the keeper of the crossroads. The Traveler, he stays in one place long enough to sell what he has and take on new goods and move on to the next stop along the path that only he knows. He trades likewise are made according to some measure of value that exists in his own mind, having little to do with the local demand or supply. In all things, the traveler makes his own way, adhering to no established society or guidelines. The traveler must or may be followed, but he does not lead. His example shows us the boundaries of society, both in its limitations and in the guardrails that it establishes to keep us from danger. We have the thinker, who is the father of knowledge. We have the exile, the forsaken soldier. The maestro, master of inspiration. And then we have the poet of Avon, the storyteller. And the poet of Avon, he clings closely or too closely to his previous existence, both unable to forget his former achievements and unable to do anything but continue to replicate them. He internally retreads the same ground he did in life, producing works for eager audiences who fuel his creative expression by feeding his ego with applause and encores. The poet of Avon teaches us that fame and adulation can be both a reward and a chain, and that one can use one's creative spark to feed oneself temporarily, but mind to look after spiritual food as well. So that was the realm of Pandemonium. Now we step into the kingdom of Hades. Hades himself, Lord of Rights. Then we have Vanth, caretaker of the lost. You know, those souls that wander, perhaps I should do this like this, who wander aimlessly after they have transitioned. She guides them. We have Charon, the ferryman. Takes you from one end of the river Styx to the other end of the river Styx. We have the mother of dawn, the emissary. Let's see what we have about her. She was a mortal woman of legendary beauty. She now represents the populace in Hades, communicating their interest to the powers of the realm. In life, her beauty was used as a prize to be granted to others for their deeds and valor, irrespective of her own wishes. In death, she is free of these constraints and chooses to exercise the agency that she was denied in life in service of others. The Mother of Dawn illuminates the path of compassion and kindness, demonstrating that the difference between service and servitude is the power to choose. It is in this power and ensuring that it is available to all that true beauty is found. Like it. Thanatos, Lord of Death or God of Death. When I was in high school, back in the Dark Ages, I studied thanatology for quite a few semesters. I had a fascination with death. It could be my cultural background, it could have been my path of spirituality, it could have just been something that I found fascinating. Yeah, Death and I, Iku, as we say in Yoruba, we dance every day. We walk side by side every day. Okay, after Thanatos, now we have Nyx. And Nyx, Enchantress of the Night, keeper of secrets, vigilant, subterfuge. So that was the realm of Hades. Now we move on to the realm called the Afterworld of Anwen. Many of you may be familiar with this realm. I'm going to put this over here. That. Okay. Aaron, Arwan, Master of the Great Hunt. This is the authority. Author, Champion of Avalon. I like what he said about Arthur in the book. He says here, the memory of an ancient and godly king. The memory of an ancient and goodly king. Arthur seeks to restore himself to himself, that he might pit himself against evil and aid all those who are lost and do not know themselves. He accomplishes this by testing himself against his enemies, and only in his darkest hour does he relearn his truest self. He does not fight alone, but fits himself with his famed and ancient weapons and surrounds himself with knights who match him for valor, nobility, honor, and faith. Arthur instructs us to seek our better natures and reminds us that even the greatest warriors do not battle evil alone. Like that. Now we have the Morrigan, Weaver of Fate. You see the crows there. You have to get past her, I feel, to get into the light. Probably spend that time in introspection. Many of us like to think that we're supremely good. Morgan Le Fay. Danu, Mother of Creation. Ferocity, motherhood. This is an energy that creates and loves and has compassion, and at the same time she's fiercely protective of those that she would call her children. Danu. And then we have Dawn, the Red Shepherd. So after we leave the realm of Anwin, we move on to the realm of, we move into the empire of Acala. And Acala is the realm of bright and dark dualities. In Acala, sorrow and joy are shared and balanced in equal measure. The gods of Acala value obligation and sacrifice. Few who enter into this domain are ever permitted to leave again. To dwell in Acala is to accept the obligations of society, to seek a simple, finite existence, and to understand the balance between one's emotional mind and one's emotional experience. So, let's move into the realm of Acala. Erishkigal. The prince, the forgotten adversary. Lilith. The martyr. The eternal servitor. And the Lady of Mass. I'm going to read to you what they say about the Lady of Mass. The Lady of Mass dwells on a vast and desolate plain, dotted with the petrified remains of the dead gods, those who have no faith or worshippers to animate them. Using the fading remnants of their power, she reshapes the physical appearance of the souls who seek her out for a price. But this change is pure vanity, changing nothing of who you are or who they are at the core, or even how the actual powers in Mausolea, who truly perceive them, see. The Lady of Mass can grant us a costume only, useful to boost the confidence, if it reflects who we are or wish to be. We should remember, however, that when it comes down to what matters, we are fooling no one. So after we leave the realm of Acala, we now venture into the domain of Duat. And in the domain of Duat is ruled by Osiris. So now on Mausolea.com, Jason, he's working on developing the these realms a lot further with landscape descriptions, more detailed information about the inhabitants, the climate, so many different things. As I said, if you go to Mausolea.com, it's just amazing what he has here on this website. I did order the art book. I don't think the art book is going to have this story, so I'm going to have to find a way how to get all this information off the website so that I can sit with it, because as I said, I'm one who likes to have a book with a highlighter and page tabs and things for me to just refer to in here. Let's see if I can find something more. So on his website, which I'm looking at right now, he has all the characters listed out. I'm going to see if it's the same as in the book. He traveled outlands, gathering tribes of scattered primitive souls. No. The information on the website is a little bit different than what he has in the book, and of course you can buy the print. Um, let me see, Duat. I'm looking at the website now, and you can visit each realm. And it says here, Duat is a realm of magnificent obelisks, giant pyramids, and ancient lore. The people of Duat are guarded, secretive, and have their own understanding of how the universe works. Oh, I understand what the sigils on the back, I think, are. The heart is the important aspect of their society and domain. Those with pure hearts are given a higher station in service to their Lord. Those who are judged and found to have a tainted heart must stand before the gods and await their verdict. One must be cautious. One must be careful when they enter Duat. A newly arrived soul must pass a series of gates, and these gates are guarded by dangerous spirits. Along the route, the soul must complete a succession of rites of passage to reach the inner walls of this domain where the flourishing temple cities await. Duat is ruled by Osiris and the other gods worshipped in ancient Egypt. And then we have the path of judgment, and he goes further in to discuss the inhabitants. I am looking at, oh my gosh, he has here the rot plague, the society that it serves. There's so much good information here. But I'm paying attention to the sigils. I want to see the sigils on the backs of the cards here. Excuse me while I pause just a moment. I'm not going to stop you guys, but I'm just looking at something. No. I thought for a minute it did. Some of the sigils, these, yes, some of these sigils here, here, this one, these sigils on the back of the cards are representative of each of the realms in the Mausolea. They're all combined and intertwined and connected. And I see all of that on the website. You have the Ankh there. Fascinating. Okay, so we can continue on now. So now we are in Duat. We just looked at Osiris. Now we have the mother of the homestead, the matriarch. We have the Golden Empress. Well, there's the sigils at the bottom of the cards right there. You can see that. And you'll see those sigils if you go to the website. Each realm has their matching sigils. So if I go back very quickly, I know I should finish up. You can see that there as well. The sigil for each realm. It's just unfortunate it's not matching like that in the book, in the guidebook, it doesn't have a correlation to the sigils like that to make each card easy to find. You really would have to know which realm each card belongs to. It may not be difficult considering, the realm of Onwin. We know that's Avalon, Camelot, King Arthur. Duat, if you Hathor, Osiris, you know that belongs to that. But if you're not familiar with these energies, you wouldn't know the Golden Empress, the Jewel of Abydos, unless you know your Egyptology and Kemet to the fullest. Okay, so after that we have Hathor. Then we have Anubis. Anubis is the arbiter of truth. Ma'at is the feather. Anubis is holding the scales. And I know that we always talk about the Ma'at holding the scales and weighing your heart. You weigh your heart is weighed against her feather. She's representative of the feather, or she's represented by the feather. Ooh, Mercury's about to go direct, or it should has already. Anyway, Ma'at, knowing the laws of Ma'at is what keeps your heart light and pure and such. So Anubis, well, you know, he's the one that weighs your heart and will devour it should it not be up to par. I'm just saying. Anyway, then of course, we all know the story of Set, the brother who killed Osiris. Set always wanted what he did not work for. He was always in that place. But there you have it. His keywords being narcissism and ambition, short-sightedness. He is the prince of avarice. You know, we can look upon this unfavorably, but sometimes, you know, sometimes you need to have that sort of vibe or an energy to get somewhere, get something done. Oop, I just minimized my screen. I do not want to do that. Okay. So now we are leaving the realm of Duat, the land of Duat, and we shall move into the last realm, and that is called the realm of Sheol. And the realm of Sheol is, how can I explain this? Probably the realm that is more feasible or closer to those of us who are of Abrahamic faiths. I put it to you that way. And I say us when I speak collectively. I know many people say, you know, I'm not Christian, I'm not this, I'm not that. Those are just labels. And I believe that if you remove the dogma from those beautiful faiths, that you can find so much grace, healing, and beauty within them. For many of us, we know that our ancestors turned to, quote unquote, the Word, and it gave them a lot of support. And maybe without that support, we may not be here today. I think it's because of the greed and the avarice, you know, the energy of Set, that has left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. I don't know if I mentioned this before. I'll mention it again. I don't know when I'm going to put up this video. But most government forms do not have African traditional religion on them, or ATR, and I'm not going to tick off the box other, because I'm not an acronym and I'm not an other. I am Hebrew. I have been Hebrew for many decades. I've raised my son in the Jewish faith. It is a faith and a belief and a pillar of my spiritual development. So, let's go to the realm of Sheol. The first card here we have is El Shaddai. Now, when I look at this card, those of you who are familiar with the Angelarium, Emanations, Oracle, you know, that shows angels in a more, in my mind, I think a more realistic sense. From my perspective, I'm just tired of seeing angels with rosy cheeks and very cherubic, and for the most part always Caucasian. And then when the Angelarium deck came out, I felt that it was more intense, more powerful. It was more energetic as opposed to personified. So that's my take on the angelic realm. So El Shaddai is the radiant Lord, the Father, okay, the All-Father. Abaddon, because you always have to have good and not good. So Abaddon is about corruption and malice and pestilence and, the yucky stuff in life that we have to deal with. Yeah. Then we have Jean the maid. Now, there's so many more that could have been used, but Joan of Arc is the most popular, so I guess that's why she was using this deck. Guardian of the Saints, very humble, sacrifice to humanity at a very young age. The Leper King, sword by law. This is an energy of someone who went through a lot in life and in death, and yet was, according to the book, awarded the sword of the law, keeping the truth. Right? Let me see. I'm going to go to pull up the website here. Hold on. I don't want to move that over. Here we go. Who am I looking for? Guys, I'm doing this techno video thing. I've got a webcam, I've got my laptop here, I've got, oh my gosh, I just feel like I'm finally coming into 2019. You're talking to someone who's used to point and shoot, You're talking to someone who's used to snapping the picture, having it come out, waving that piece of paper, and watching the images come to life. All this newfangled stuff is foreign to me, but I'm getting used to it. So this is fascinating. You have to go to that website. Anyway, the Leper King. I'm with you guys for 33 minutes. We come to the Ageless. And the Ageless provides healing, graciousness, and acceptance. And it is said for her, denied paradise on a matter of law in spite of her noble life and spirit, the court of Elohim in their mercy granted the Ageless the power of renewal for herself and others. This allows her to grant healing and succor to those souls suffering from harms inflicted by Abaddon's corruption. She has accepted her lot with graciousness and dignity, preferring a life of service and acceptance of her fate to one of bitterness and despair. Seek the Ageless when in need of healing, a sympathetic ear, or the grace to accept what cannot change. And then the last card we have is the Keeper of Whispers, the Mad Prophet, the one who writes down everything, supposedly, but you can't read it, you can't interpret it, and it could be, I don't know, I'm not sure. I'm curious to know if this is a person who is writing the Akashic records. I don't know anything about that, so don't come at me. I'm using my imagination here. The Book of Life, when we have our um, Yom Kippur coming, all of that, taking care of, closing out the year and such, and then coming back in for the new year. I believe that there is a book that keeps track, so to speak, of your deeds, and this could be the energy that's writing everything down. you know who knows? Those that I've spoken to on the other side, they haven't clued me in on all of that. So I think that the premise is live the best life that you can, right? So, the mad prophet, the madman known as the keeper of whispers, dwells in a hollow below the valley of saints. Save for his rare moments of lucidity, he spends his days scrawling the full and complete history of mankind in an indecipherable scrawl that no one but he can read, which he cannot explain, even if anyone were willing to listen to his ravings. So, he's about forbidden knowledge and all of that. So that's the 36 cards. So before I leave, I'm just going to shuffle. Let's see, we can shuffle. There are no reversals. It's not read in reversals. Typical low scarabea stock. If you like the dark mirror, you'll like this. If you like delirium, you'll like this deck as well. Any of the low scarabea decks. If you like, let's see, the Everyday Witch Oracle, the Barbieri. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. All of those decks. The Witch's Wisdom and the Kitchen Witch and the Dark Goddess. All of that. Let me take this over here. Oops. Give this a shuffle. Just see what we have. Let's see what message that we have here. Okay. A message for the week as the moon is waning. Spread out like this, and we will take a card from, let me open this up a little bigger so I can see what I'm doing. How about, let's see what this one is. Oh, I got two. Author in Exile. Well, perhaps we need to get a bit more information before we make a decision that would be for the good of all, that in spite of feeling like outsiders and such, that we bring something of value. Let's see here. Knowledge, instruction, reinvention, championship, nobility, self-realization, strategy, failure, and trauma. So, as I always say, there are no failures, there are experiences, and perhaps we can take that idea, that concept, think of our plan, think of everything that we know, get some more information, develop a plan, develop a strategy to help us to become more successful, but always keeping the good of all, the vision of good of all in mind. I don't know. You tell me what you think. And with that, stay blessed. See you in my next video.